Glowing eyes almost always make your monsters cooler, and Roblox Piggy is certainly no exception. I mean, look at Tio. This guy looks so cool. But would glowing eyes be effective or logical on a biological standpoint? Let's look into it. The first thing I should explain before going into actual science is how glowing eyes actually work in Piggy. You see, glowing eyes in Piggy are exclusive to two different types of characters, those being the infected and insolence creatures. I won't talk much about insolence creatures because they're mostly just supernatural beings that can't use reality's logic. Not to say that infected aren't inherently supernatural either, they are superhuman, super animal, whatever they are, zombies with glowing eyes and bacterial or viral manipulation. But basically, when an animal gets infected, their eyes will go black and their pupils will start glowing. There are exceptions to this, like how doggy scleras are red rather than black, Mother has no glowing pupils, or how some characters have glowing irises instead. But you can basically tell whether someone is infected or not solely based on their eyes. There are other details like how the color of your pupils reflect your personality, which doesn't make sense in terms of an actual infection, but does support the infected being supernatural entities. Now that you know how the eyes work in lore, it's time for what we've all been waiting for, a dumb teenager talking about science. The first part of the eye I want to address is the sclera. In most cases, the sclera of an infected will be pitch black, which if that applies to you, please seek medical help, that's very bad. However, I haven't found anything to say that the sclera being white is necessary, only that it's white because of how it's made from dense collagen fibers. The sclera being black could mean that the eye lacks that same strong connective tissue, having something else from the infection replacing it, which would be extremely important seeing as that's what allows the eye to hold its shape and remain structurally intact, otherwise it would just cave in on itself. Or you know, maybe the infection just dyes your face orb, so no immediate issues with that, I suppose. Next up is, oh boy, the pupils. The whole reason I made this video. Now obviously glowing eyes don't happen in real life, and there's probably a reason for that. You see, the eye's purpose is to take in light and transmit information to the brain to convert said information into an image we can see. That wouldn't work for the infected because the pupil is emitting light rather than taking light in. Essentially, the pupil is a hole in your eye that allows light to pass through into the lens, which then focuses light on your retina. If the pupil is glowing, then light is coming from inside the eye. My guess is that unless something supernatural is going on, which is most definitely happening, this would be from chemical reactions in the vitreous humor, the gel stuff in your eye, or the retina. Now obviously light coming from the retina is literally the opposite of what it's supposed to do, meaning that any eye with a glowing pupil would be blind. I've tried thinking of ways around it, but the light produced isn't enough to help with vision for eyes that aren't glowing, and it can't simply just look like it's glowing like deers in headlights, because we do see minor illumination from the glowing eyes, which does mean that they're producing actual light. Another small detail that makes things a wee bit worse is that in order to produce light without supernatural influence, you need reactions which are never 100% efficient, meaning some of the energy goes into other states like heat, which causes dryness and increased pressure in the eyeball, which is really bad, both putting your eyesight at risk. And don't think glowing irises are safe from my criticism either. Them being bioluminescent is also bad. The purpose of the iris is to control the size of the pupil to control the amount of light entering the eye. It glowing would only interfere with the image your eye is creating at the very best. Obviously, I'm not an eye doctor, so I can't tell you just how bad it could be, but you can imagine, right? Another issue that I find problematic is that while some infected have at least one eye that can still be used, some have both of their eyes glowing, effectively making them completely blind. So would glowing eyes like the infection be any good? No, it wouldn't. They may look cool, but they also can't look at all. Following all of our world's rules, the infection would essentially just kill the eyes of anyone unfortunate enough to get infected. However, there is a reason that they're not blind that literally only applies to their universe, and that is that the infection is inherently supernatural. There are many things involving the infection that defy real-world logic, like just being hurt by an infected's weapon being enough to infect you, or an evil top hat man giving infected the ability to literally teleport. Sure, your eyes may be dead, but they likely use psychic abilities to allow sight even after that. So yeah, that's my take on the eyes of the Piggy infected, and whether they'd actually work. I'm not a doctor or anything, so what I say may not be fully accurate, which I encourage you to tell me in the comments if I am wrong about something, because this is more like me showing you my work for a class we're both taking than me being the teacher. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video or found it informative, I'd really appreciate you dropping a like or a comment, or both. If you want to see more of me, I highly recommend subscribing. I'm Norwal, and that's it for today. Bye-bye.